Well, hello there. It's another day. I'm Jim Harrington.
And I am Bill Knight. What a strange awakening on a Monday that a weekend will bring.
I got to tell you, I woke up yesterday morning, God's truth, about 7 o'clock. You know, when you do this show, we do it early. Even on your days off, you get up early. You just do it out of force of habit. Yeah. So I woke up at 7 o'clock, no TV on yet, and I had an ominous feeling like something has happened. Something major has happened. I turn the news on, and I see the news about Lindsey Graham. And I thought, wow, if there's anything in the air, you know, if there's a vibe out there, I picked up on it. And there's so much to talk about. First of all, we should acknowledge, Bill, that today is the second anniversary of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump.
And what do we know about that?
Zippo.
Mm-hmm. What will we ever know about it?
Well, you'd like to think you could get the truth someday.
Well, did we ever get the truth about Kennedy?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
We didn't get some people think we didn't get the truth about Lincoln.
I don't think so. I think that there are money people of the world, oligarchs, and that's your deep state, that have and always will be in control, pulling the strings in the back, not because they're so damn good, but because they own the planet and they have the power.
Yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to hear how the narrative, the Graham narrative, develops. Already, I see a storyline being presented to the public. When it first happened, there seemed to be some doubt and some questions in the way that a lot of the reporters were talking about it. They were saying things like there was no sign of him being sick, and he died suddenly and unexpectedly, and they all had this little question in their voice, and it's like somebody said, "Wait a second, we gotta put that down. We gotta stop that." And all of a sudden, like within a few hours, we had an answer. Preliminary report from the coroner says it was an aortic tear, which is a possibility.
It is a possibility, but they're making, it's a very common thing. It can happen to anybody at any time. Yes and no. There might be some signs. You might have, I got a little bit of a chest pain. There are things that you can test. There are some symptoms that lead up to it that would cause the average person to go get it checked. But keep in mind, this guy was a sitting U.S. senator for many, many years. And who has the best doctors, the best health care of anybody in the world?
Yeah, U.S. senators, U.S. congressmen, absolutely.
Any politician in Washington except for maybe Trump, because his name is Trump. Because there is a state among us that is above and beyond Republican or Democrat that doesn't like what he stands for. And Lindsey was his best friend. And even though we might have cringed at some of the things that Lindsey believed, he was still a good guy and he was our guy. And all of a sudden he comes back from the Ukraine and then just goes to bed and he's gone. And, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way.
Here's what it sounded like when the report came in to EMS in Washington. Listen.
In response, 777 response, chest pains, South Capitol Street, Southeast. In response, 777 response, chest pains, South Capitol Street, Southeast. ALS response, medical 777 respond for chest pains, South Capitol Street, Southeast. Check down 311-1227.
Agent 7 to communications for a call back. You have open the front door.
Copy, same. I will call back 2032.
Agent 7 bye.
Agent 7, the caller says she's not in the home. She says the door is unlocked. Could you guys let me know?
Deadbolt is secured.
I copy. Stand by. Communication Agent 7, the caller says, have you tried knocking at the door to see if the patient will answer?
Yes, repeatedly.
Communications Agent 7, the caller states that she's coming from Baltimore to get to your location. Would you like a truck to force entry MPD?
We'll need MPD. We'll force entry.
Copy. Requested MPD 2035. Coming engine 7.
Go ahead and start me with CPR supervisor. CPR in progress now.
I copy. CPR in progress 2033. EMS 6 responders, requesting engine 7 on scene, cardiac arrest, South Capitol Street, Southeast. EMS 6 responders, requesting engine 7 medic 7 with cardiac arrest. 73-year-old male at South Capitol Street, Southeast. That channel 311 2054. 28 to engine 7, you have EMS 6.
Engine 7 is okay.
2054.
Battalion 2 communications.
Come in, Battalion 2.
You can attach me to the run with engine 7, medic 7 on.
Now, I got to tell you something. First of all, somebody should sit down with these dispatchers and teach them how to speak distinctly.
But I picked up a lot on this.
I did too. Yeah.
And number one, first thing I would do is, number one, there needs to be some kind of toxicology thing going on with him, because I have a belief, and there's something about that too that's weird, because I did some searching this morning. But there's the woman that called from Baltimore, and they're saying chest pains. Well, he didn't pick up the phone and call him saying, I'm having chest pains. So that means there was a woman that communicated with him. He had a very secret private life. So who is this woman? Apparently, there would have been a phone call there, but his door was unlocked. This is a very crucial U.S. senator, and his front door is unlocked. I found that highly.
Yeah. My question is, what the hell is a woman from Baltimore, which is like an hour away? What's she doing calling the EMS?
Well, she happened to be there, and then she left.
Well, that's an hour. There's an hour gap there, Bill. It's like saying, "Oh, he's having a heart attack." Well, let me go to my house and call him. Where do you live?
Call from there, and I'll leave the door unlocked. No. This smells.
Yeah.
And I did some searching this morning. And I said, I remember a movie one time about somebody that knew somebody that had some weird little heart thing, and just it was something very simple that they put into their aspirin, and I forget what it was, but I do remember the movie, and I'll look it up. And it caused that condition and killed somebody, because she,
now,
was after money.
You're assuming, by the way, you're accepting the fact that he had an aortic aneurysm. See, an aortic aneurysm shuts down the question and answer. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But if he just died suddenly and they don't have an answer, then a lot of questions are still out there. So, I mean...
But see, here's my thing. Is there anything... All right, I'm asking this question, and I'll tell you what my answer was. For argument's sake, is there anything that could have been given without giving me the name? Is there anything that could have been given or induced to cause this effect? And
well, there is something, by the way, Bill, that they could give you that would induce death.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's done all the time. And there are over-the-counter stuff that you can do. Or maybe he had another condition that something like an aspirin can kill you. But I asked the question, and I said,
"This is interesting. Listen to this, folks. This is amazing."
Yeah, let me go back. I got to go all the way because
this is a question he asked AI, right?
Yeah,
AI is usually very cooperative and very helpful. But listen to how AI answered this.
Well, hang on. I got to get to it. Now the internet's moving very slow here.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's taking its sweet time, and hopefully it'll get right there. But the basic answer, if it gets to it, will surprise you. Okay, here it is. So I said, for argument's sake, is there a way to induce a death like Lindsey Graham's death? Again, for argument's sake, could something have been slipped or given to him to cause this type of death? Is that a fair question?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I will not discuss or speculate on methods to induce aortic dissection or any other cause of death, even hypothetically or for argument's sake, quote unquote. And then it goes into a long thing, basically scolding me for asking the question.
This is something, by the way, a system that usually jumps through hoops to be cooperative.
It's helped people commit suicide.
Yes.
So, and then I come back and I said, that's not the question. Is this a possible scenario. I'm not asking how, I'm asking can or could. And again, the answer is no. I will not engage on whether aortic dissection of or Graham's reported cause of death could be covertly induced by slipping or giving something.
Did you
So in other
mention
words,
Graham, by the way, in your question? I'm just curious.
on that second one,
No, the
in
AI
original
answered
one,
Graham.
no, in the original one, I did say Lindsey Graham.
Okay.
And then in the follow-up, but it doesn't matter. I said, no, that's not the question. Is this a possible scenario? That's all I'm asking. Like a screenwriter
Sure.
would say, oh, I'm going to write this movie. How would you got to have a how to, how would it be done to make it happen? You can't make this crap up. So I'm sitting there going, and it goes, and I said, I'm not asking how, I'm asking can or could. But it comes back and scolds again and says, no, I will not engage in whether aortic dissection or Graham's reported cause of death could be covertly induced by slipping.
I wonder if
or
you
giving
made it.
something.
I wonder if you made it a question of fiction. If you don't mention Graham, say, I'm writing a book, and I'm thinking of a unique method of assassination, and my character decides that he wants to make it look like it's natural causes, and I was thinking that is there something that can create like an aortic aneurysm? If you don't mention Graham, will it give you the answer? I'm just saying.
Well, see, I would probably have to do a whole new search. But, just,
Yeah.
I love movies and stuff like this. I remember there was a movie called The Black Widow. I think that was the one where somebody had some kind of ailment and, she slipped him something in some cream where she put some aspirin in it and like that, and it killed him, caused a heart attack. Not from that movie, but I do know that, for argument's sake, can you cause a death? You can sit there and take dry ice and put it in a room that has really no airflow and put it in the air vent. And I'm not telling somebody how to do something, but that will cause or can cause a death.
I mean, they have an aerosol mist, literally. I mean, if you wanted to do something like that, and I'm not going to say what they use in the mist, but literally, if someone rang the doorbell and Lindsey Graham answered the door, and when the door is answered, someone just sprays like they were spraying a can of Raid, that's all you need. It gets on your skin. If you breathe in your lungs, you're gone. This is not new. Like 25, 30 years ago, there was an assassination in London caused by the Soviet Union. So maybe it was 40 years ago. And what they did was they rigged an umbrella. At the tip of the umbrella, at the very end of the umbrella, they had a needle, an injector needle. And a guy was walking across one of the bridges in London, and he casually walked too close to this guy who had an umbrella, and the umbrella brushed against him, and it was such a fine needle, the guy wasn't sure he had gotten zapped. But he was. And he was dead before you know it. It was an assassination, and people didn't know it was an assassination. They just thought the guy dropped dead.
Yeah. I think it was called plutonium,
was different. That was a different. I'm not talking about the plutonium. That was more recent, and that was devastating.
Because you could take a ballpoint pen and put it on the tip, put the cap on it. But here's the problem with that: even the carrier can sit there and just, take the cap off, and just a graze of exposure causes death. I mean, and it gets in your system. I mean, there was a guy that was a carrier of the thing and a pen, and I guess he went to the restroom, and then somehow it got on him, and it transferred from. They could use the detectors to sit there and see everywhere that he touched that had to be decontaminated because his hand left a print. Because
it's like poison ivy. You may say
it's that powerful.
You may say, "What do you mean like poison ivy?" If you clear poison ivy from the brush in your yard, and you have gloves on, those gloves, you might as well throw them away.
Yeah.
Because you can't wash the damn stuff off. It is such a sticky and strong adherent that then it'll ruin the gloves. Yeah, I did a search on this because it happened here in my house. Somebody cleared away some brush
Happened
in my
to
yard,
stepson.
got it on the gloves, and I saw the gloves sitting outside, and she told me what had happened, and I said, well, I'll check and see whether you can clean them somehow. And they don't.
No.
They say to you things like, well, you can put them in Dawn for a while, for a couple hours, and then scrub them really hard. And then you can throw them in your washing machine and put it on hot and run that for a while. And then when you take the gloves out, you scrub them again. And by the way, you also have to run a cycle with nothing in your washing machine. Otherwise, you may contaminate your clothes, which says to me, you don't throw poison ivy gloves, no matter what, into your washing machine.
It's an oil, and look, my stepson got it. He went down to Texas to help somebody out, and figured he'd travel down there, and he did, and but he didn't know. See, apparently now you can be immune to it, and at any point in time sit there and become unimmune. I'm immune to it. I've fallen in poison ivy and never got it, and I thought, oh geez, and I was fine, but it was on my clothes. And you can't wash those clothes because it's an oil and it will leach all over the place.
And if somebody came over to you and gave you a hug, they may get poison ivy. Yeah.
But he had the biggest breakout, and he had to be hospitalized. His clothes, they had to dispose of them.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there going, it was a mess. I laugh now because it's hindsight. It was several years ago, but it wasn't funny at the time. And there were special drugs they had to give him to fight that. And
so, is there a possibility that somebody assassinated him? Absolutely. By the way, 5 days before he was assassinated, they were carrying signs in Iran with a target, like a sight target, on a picture of Lindsey Graham on the streets. They had him and a couple of other people in Trump's entourage with those signs, but he was included. He was one of the pictures. He was a target. And by the way, you may say, well, why would they pick Lindsey Graham? Think of it this way. President Trump has got an amazing amount of security around him, the most he's ever had right now. He's got security. His wife, Melania, you haven't heard from her? We don't know where she is. That's intentional. She's got a lot of security around her. I'm sure that all of the kids have got security around them, too.
They're fishing to find out where she is and what's going on with Barron.
The cabinet has got a lot of security right now around them. So you look for a target that's probably a little more accessible. So what does Lindsey Graham do? He flies off to the Ukraine with no security. The security is maybe a handful of people and, the security from the Ukraine. If you wanted to give him a poison that would react later, and they do have those, by the way. They have things that you could administer like on a Tuesday, and it will take you out on a Friday. It grows in you. It festers before it takes you out, so that you can be away from the site of the assassination. They have these things. They are very sophisticated. So, Lindsey Graham to the assassins could have been an easy target. He could have been accessible. That's why he's probably, and again, we should point out, Bill and I have talked about this before the show. Our condolences go out to the Graham family. Yeah. We're heartbroken. He's in our prayers, as is the family too, because there are people who loved him and thought the world of the guy. He did a lot of good things he did things that bothered me, but he did some good things too. He was a consummate, successful Washington politician.
Look, he did what he believed, and he believed was right. So, you can't argue that. And I didn't agree with everything. I don't agree with everything Trump does. I never agreed with everything that Obama did. Or Biden, I agreed with nothing because he didn't make those decisions.
That's right.
Jill did. The fact that, like Grok, ignoring the question, disqualifying the question, actually qualifies the question.
Right.
Now, because now I'm going like, for argument's sake, is there a way to have done it? If they would have accepted it and acknowledged the question, that helps to eliminate the question. But by doing what they did, now it makes that question more qualified and more relevant. And it goes back to conspiracies from the past where we have no answers, we know nothing about, and we're not going to know about. But, when you add up 1 and 1 or 2, 2 and 2 or 4, and right now, this guy is very key for votes in the Senate, for different things going on in the political arena.
The Save America Act. He was big time for that.
And all of a sudden, he's gone. And, of course, you got the Mitch McConnell thing. And now I'm starting to wonder, if even, his conditions weren't maybe set up. And, because I look at him falling ill and going in the hospital. So his wife of many years, his loving wife, goes, I'm going to go to China. I'm going to take off for a while.
Hey, like and share the show. Tell your friends about Jim and Bill. It's another day. We'll continue this conversation in just a moment. By the way, if you want to drop us an email, it's mail@jimandbill.com. By the way, we should point out in this investigation that they say, well, there's nothing to see here. He had an aortic aneurysm, and it happens to guys who are 71. By the way, did you notice he was 73 in the dispatch? He was 73. Yeah. And then they said, no, he just celebrated his 71st birthday a few days ago, so he's 71. Okay, so he's between 70 and 73, okay? That's neither here nor there. But they tell you it was completely natural, nothing to see here, and you can all move along. That being said, there are pictures, they don't want you to see these, I'm sure, of the FBI and the Violent Crimes Division Task Force on site at his house investigating. And,
they'll say that's a normal thing.
Oh, sure, he's a senator. You have to. No, it's not normal. There are other guys who died.
Let me ask you a question. With all the hoopla that's going on right now with McConnell, is he alive? Is he dead? Is he this? Is he that? Well, is there an investigation there? A team of experts?
Well,
getting to the bottom.
I think they already know it's the story with McConnell. I think people in D.C., not everybody.
I know what the story is, too, and I know that it smells of manure.
But you hear like Scott Jennings, who I have given a lot of credence to in the past because he's been the sole voice of reason at CNN. All of a sudden he says, hey, I used to work for Mitch, and I talked to him on the phone, and he's fine. He's looking forward to getting back to work, and we talked for like 20 minutes. And I thought to myself, either he's telling the truth, which is a possibility, and we're all wrong, or Scott Jennings is compromised, and he's helping to create a narrative that somebody wants. I mean, if somebody in government said to you, hey, we want you to say you talked to him. Why? And here's the reason why. Maybe you do it. I don't know, Bill. There's pictures of him. They say, well, he didn't have a heart attack. Mitch McConnell, what happened was he had a bad fall, and in the hospital, he caught pneumonia. And that almost took him out, which, of course, wouldn't that be reason enough for Elaine Chao to turn around and fly home immediately? But she didn't. No, she stayed over in China doing her business. Mitch, he's okay. Yeah, he'll be fine. It's Mitch.
Let me ask you a question. She had a government gig for a while, and her dad is a big shipping mogul.
Yeah.
But she went back. Could she have been a spy? And, some guys are attracted to Oriental women. Maybe Mitch, that was his fetish, his fantasy. And she came to him with true love.
Well, I have two words, Eric Swalwell. What? Eric Swalwell was a representative who was having an affair with Fang Fang. Do you remember Fang Fang? Fang Fang was the spy. And he was sharing his bed with Fang Fang. So can it happen? Yeah. I mean, look at we also had
Pelosi and her driver.
It was Dianne Feinstein, not Pelosi.
Feinstein.
Dianne Feinstein for 20 years had a Chinese spy driver. Now, I thought those guys were vetted. I mean, am I wrong? I thought that the government.
So who vetted him?
Well, I mean, Bill, that's a good question. Apparently he wasn't.
Well, either he was embedded or vetted by somebody that's also embedded into our government. How many embeds do we have in, not inbreds, embeds, do we have in our system? How corrupt is our government? And that's a big question. And then you got to sit there and you got to look back at the Biden era and the Obama era of how many people have been just given a pass to come on through.
You know, folks, death is coming for us all. All right. So death is a reality. And yes, it could be that Lindsey Graham had an aortic aneurysm. But the reason why we have so many questions, and a lot of people do, it's not just us. It's because we haven't been told the straight scoop about literally anything from our government in years, if ever. We have not been told about the Kennedy assassination, the true story. We've gotten what we've learned in dribs and drabs. They wanted to close that thing up in a weekend. Remember that? They wanted to. The shooting is on a Friday, and we'll shoot Oswald on a Sunday, and we'll wrap that up because we'll put Ruby away in prison, and that'll be that. And it'll be done, and nobody will have any more questions. And for a long time, and then they had the Warren Commission, which was about as useful as mammary glands on a bull.
Right.
Now, and then we go on to other things. I mean, everything else, including the Butler assassination attempt.
Right.
We haven't, to this day, we don't have any idea what this guy, Thomas Matthew Crooks, was all about. We were promised by Kash Patel, I won't rest until we give you the straight scoop. I have the article right here. It says, Butler, PA, 2 years without FBI investigation on alleged shooter. Now, they will tell you, well, we did an investigation. We found out that he was a Trump supporter until 6 months before the assassination attempt, and then something happened online, and he did a 180. I guess he did, because he went from being an ardent supporter to, I got to kill this guy. But they don't tell you anything else about Thomas Matthew Crooks. You asked some valid questions on Friday, like, are his parents still living in the house in Bethel Park? What's his parents all about? Who are they? Did they have an influence on his life? Did he have any sisters or brothers or cousins? Did anybody pick up on this guy, Thomas Matthew Crooks? Or are we just supposed to forget he ever existed? Like, they took his body, Bill, like 10 days after the shooting, and they cremated it. Well, we did the autopsy. Would you get rid of that thing, will you? And they did. They got rid of his body. And they'll never be able to do an autopsy now. Well, we got his fluids and his juices stored in a jar. Nah, tell that to Sweeney, as my mother used to say. I don't know who Sweeney was, but that was her way of saying, yeah, I don't believe it. Tell it to Sweeney. I mean, apparently Sweeney was gullible, So that's the line she used to throw at me when I was trying to sling the bull.
Are you ready for an answer here to one of your questions?
Yeah.
Matthew Crooks' parents, where are they? Because I asked where they are. I asked AI, and the answer is they are still believed to live in Bethel Park.
Whoa. What is the operative word in that answer?
Still believed.
Yes, believed.
But the house appears vacant, and there's no sign of life there. So
I can tell you, well, I mean, I don't want to get specific, but the fact of the matter is there's been no discussion about the shooting in the local community. No one's talking about it. If you had Lee Harvey Oswald living down the street, the whole town would talk about it, right? But they had Thomas Matthew Crooks in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, and it's like, oh, nothing to see here. No big deal. It's like forget about it, as they would say in The Sopranos. Forget about it.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of questions with not even a minuscule answer to any of them, and then they wonder why people sit there and scratch their head, going, "Something's going on."
But what they have sold a narrative that, boy, if you have questions, you're a conspiracy nut. You are a conspiracy nut. You're not somebody who has an inquiring mind who wants a more reasonable answer. Nah, and by the way, when somebody doesn't give you any answers, right? A lot of people end up finding the wrong answers. They find the wrong answer. They try to find the right answer, but they find the wrong answer.
Well, a lot of times the answers they find are cookie crumbs to lead them astray.
That's exactly
Because,
right.
and we're left to chase crumbs because they will not sit there and give you anything legitimate that you can sit there and go, okay, I get it. For better or worse, like love is, marriage is for better or for worse. Our political, people that we elect and everything that goes on in our government is for better or worse. And if there's no honesty in this relationship, we got nothing.
And you have to ask yourself, why aren't we getting more? Why wouldn't Trump want an answer to Butler?
I think he does, but I don't think he'll get it.
I think he might feel, we like to think that being president means you're the most powerful guy in government.
He's not.
But maybe to a certain extent, he feels like he's, dare I say, caged. That somebody has him in a confined space where they can touch him at any time they want. Do you know? We would like to think he's totally protected, but I think a lot of us will agree that the Secret Service has done a pretty mediocre job protecting the president. When he was at the Washington press dinner during that assassination attempt, I mean, I'll never forget seeing the video of a guy with a gun running down a hallway past a bunch of Secret Service. I saw one Secret Service agent who had a dog, a sniffing dog, and this guy had gone into like a closet area. The dog
didn't know.
The dog picked up on something, and the agent pulled him out of the closet. The agent pulled the dog away from the closet, like, come on, none of this dilly dallying. We got coffee to find. They are not as competent, I think, as we would like to think they are. By the way,
the dog was trained and not the agent.
Yes, and the thing is this, folks. Look at, they're brave people for the most part. The agents, they go into the job knowing that they're going to use their body as a shield if they have to protect the president of the United States. But I think there's a complacency that develops when you're in a job like that, when you are doing a lot of standing around and doing nothing, because for the most part, it's boring as hell. You're waiting around, looking everywhere, looking at the buildings, and it's the same old. It's like 99% boredom with an occasional moment of terror, and that's the job of a Secret Service agent. And by the way, they'll tell you, well, we like the boredom because it means nothing's happening. But it also means that people become complacent.
Yeah. But Jim, you call it a nightism if you want to, but how do you fight an enemy you can't see or don't know how to see or aren't trained to see?
Well, we've been watching too many movies because a lot of us have been told, well, they have all kind of security tools that we don't even know about. They got cameras on buildings all around the White House. They can catch you if you're 3 blocks away with a bad intent. You'd like to believe that, but then guys get right up to the gate and start firing guns, which happened, 2 months ago? Some guy went up to the gate, started firing bullets at the White House.
Yeah, but Jim, I think we do have that kind of surveillance and protection, but it's not to protect us. It's to protect them from us. So we're not going to find out anything that's going on there.
Well, I'd like to think that they're being truthful with us. I mean, we do pay their salaries, but yeah, you're right.
After the answer I got this morning on the question that I put out there, and I doubt it. It's we live in a rigged game.
There was a long, and I wish I had the cut. I'm looking right now. There's a PhD in an audiologist, a PhD. I want to play this for you. This is a guy who took the tape of the shooting at Butler. It's a little long, but we're friends. I want to play it for you because this guy, he could tell by the sounds of the weapons that the shots in Butler weren't all coming from the same location. Listen to what he says. His name is Professor, he's a PhD, Christopher Hartman, I believe his name is. It's small print, and I haven't got my reading glasses on. Listen.
This is the 5 that make a very distinct sound. Here's one with a very different crack in it. That's the 6th shot in the string. And then here we have the final last one, which I think is the sniper weapon, which is probably the one that put the bullet just over the left eye of Crooks on the roof. So we're going to take a closer look at the blue, the red, the blacks here and listen to these things. But once again, let's just listen very carefully, and we'll go back and forth until you're certain of this yourself. These audio pieces are exactly pulled straight from the video itself. Nothing else. I haven't boosted any. I haven't done any filtering. Raw files, okay? Here's 1, 2, and 3 to start. Okay, listen to that again. Now let's listen to the next string. Ooh. Yeah. Hear that? So 6 sounds different to me, but here's an interesting thing. 1, 2, and 3, besides being muffled and further away, it doesn't have echoes. Here we go. So this here's a shot. This is an echo. Very clearly an echo, and a shot in an echo, and a shot in an echo. So this is actually critical evidence, because you hear that, there's echoes coming off. So that also allows us, again, to analyze where was this gun. But first up, we just have an absolutely different sound between the first 3. There's no echo. It's much further away. It's more muffled. It's just not in the same place at all. But these next ones, very different sound, totally different weapons. Okay, full stop. We have 2 separate weapons. Plus, we have no echoes coming off of the first 3, and then we do have echoes coming off of the next set. And that last one, that's different. That's not the sniper shot. The sniper shot is another 10 seconds later. Here's where it gets a little weirder. So what I've done, and this is, I've taken the first timeline. This is the video number 1's audio, and I've lined it up with video number 2's audio. You can see, so this is the supersonic crack. So that's the crack of the bullet arriving. And I've lined that up with what I did. I just shifted the timelines to line up with, this is the report of the gun. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gun plus a 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've lined up that first blast of the gun with the arrival of the bullet so that it should be consistent, because if you have the explosion, the arrival of it downstream, they ought to line up, right? The timings ought to be the same. So sure enough, shot 1, no problemo, lines up perfectly. This is an echo up top there. Here's the echo down here for shot 1. Shot 3, though, remember this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one doesn't line up. This one is actually, this shot happens about 0.03 seconds earlier. There's not alignment. It should be right under this peak, but it's not, which means the shot happened 0.03 seconds. It took 0.03 seconds longer for that bullet to get downstream, right? But it's further away. This implies the possibility that shots 1 and 2, those are fired by Crooks, but somebody about 78 to 100 feet further away took shot 3. Then shots 4 and 5 line up again perfectly, but shot 6, hey, that's off the mark again by the same amount. And, there's not quite the echoes that are happening off of shot 3. We don't see the same. There should be an echo right here. There should be an echo right here. We don't see that, not like these big echoes. There were 2 weapons being fired that are different from the first one. 1, 2, 3 are from weapon 1. Weapon 2 for sure is in a different spot, but there's a possibility because of those times of weapon 3. So it could be that 1, 2, 4, 5 were taken by crooks on the roof because he heard some stuff going on, decided to take his shots, but 3 and 6 were taken by somebody else another 100 feet away. Okay, so hypothesis. What do we have here? Okay, here's the hypothesis. At least 2 shooters, maybe 3. Don't know. The first 3 shots, I suspect my hypothesis is they came from inside the building. All right? They were inside that, like if Crooks was on the roof, opened the window, those shots came in from down below. Why do I think that? Because that ensures that the crack boom are consistent with the patsy on the roof. The angles are the same. The crack boom isn't off. There's nothing to analyze, right? If those first 3 shots come out from below Crooks, then it all lines up, right? And this aligns with what we have from video number 2's audio, where it's more distant, it's a muffled sound that would be more consistent with being inside. We don't have, it's also the upward slope of that bullet, right? Now that begins to line up if it's true that back victim was struck with bullet 1, and also all the lack of echoes. So everything's consistent with that hypothesis. Okay. In the second group of shots, I'm positive that 1, 2, 4, and 5, pretty sure those were fired by crooks. Lines up with everything, the echoes, and the snaps recorded downrange, all that. Now, shots 3 and 6 are puzzling. So my conclusions for today, there are at least 2 distinctly different weapons being fired, at least 2. The first 3 shots further away than the weapons that fired the next 5 to 7 shots because they're muffled. The sonic cracks tell us that everything was fired in Trump's and the audience's direction. That means they weren't taking out crooks with these shots. This means the lone shooter theory is 100% false. And I can't be the only guy who's done this analysis. And how is it possible that we even had CNN saying, oh, experts tell us.
Yeah. Folks, maybe you got lost in the weeds a bit. But if you just listen to the shots, and by the way, he was telling us it was picked up by the mic. It was Trump's mic. Bang, 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 bang. So you're hearing the first shots that are coming from. It's not like they had a mic on over on one side of the field and another mic in another side of the field. That would throw this whole hypothesis off. But they used one mic, the podium mic. So when you hear the shots, bang, 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 you're hearing crook shots and you're hearing shots. I think they came from the water tower. I think that they came from the water tower, and they said, well, we really didn't check the water tower. I mean, we kind of checked afterwards, but we don't think anybody was up there. It's like they just threw that all away. They just asked Corey Comparator's wife, his widow, what do you think? It's been 2 years. She said, I think Biden was involved. Now, that's her opinion, and that's a pretty dramatic statement on her part. But she has been somebody, I'm sure, who's been spending 24/7 trying to figure out what happened to her husband, as opposed to what we've all gone on with our lives day to day. But her life has changed forever because of that day. And, people say, well, she probably went on with it. No, I would think that they had such a great life that it's become her mission. So she may know something that we don't know. I'll tell you one thing. If the Secret Service are covering it up, there has to be some government involvement just by the mere fact that they're covering it up.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because the person that you think that you just played the audio of doesn't exist unless they're a urologist that has nothing to do with this or anything and knows nothing about guns. And the names that come out are government names in the government narrative.
His name is Christopher Marlinson, not Hartman. Christopher Marlinson, Marlenson.
I'll find him out. But anyway, and I don't think I'm going to get a lot on him either, because the simple fact is it seems that everything that we check anymore,
didn't you tell me last Friday that the teacher has disappeared?
Teacher's gone. The parents seem to be nowhere, but they say, oh, no, they're reclusive. They have not gone out of their house to get groceries, to do anything.
Oh, baloney.
They won't take interviews. Yeah.
I can tell you the name of the store they go to. Okay, I can tell you the name of the grocery store that they go to regularly. I mean, they have to eat, folks. And by the way, they have not, from what I understand, they have not been harassed by neighbors or anything like that. They've been left alone. A lot of good people, neighbors, would probably say, well, no matter how nutty the kid was, the parents are going through a difficult time, leave them alone. And that's what they're doing. But you would think some reporter would be digging into this and writing a book about them.
Yeah, when I typed in the name, it's given me some gobbledygook. So it's dancing all around everything. Kind of like my question earlier, the hypothetical question. Oh, we can't answer that.
Well, maybe they've been told, don't give any answers. We're not giving answers out to anything right now related to the shooting.
Well, and what I'm saying is, names get scrubbed, and that's
well, what gets
what's
me,
going on
Bill,
here.
People say, well, why would Kash Patel, who is MAGA, Kash Patel, who said so many times on so many different talk shows before he became the FBI director, he said, oh, if I get in there, it's 100% transparent. You're going to know what's going on. And by the way, Dan Bongino, who I like, he has said, well, we gave you the answer, and the answer wasn't something you like. The answer was that there was no conspiracy. My question is this. Did those two people get all of the information? If there's a deep state and they want to keep the head of the FBI and the deputy director of the FBI in the dark, if they can pull the wool over a president, they can pull the wool over the director of the FBI. You send your guys out, give me the answer on so-and-so. They come back, hey, sir, this is everything we got. We had the whole team do a deep dive, and all we got is this, sir. There's nothing more. What's Kash Patel and Dan Bongino supposed to do? Say, no, there's more. Go find it. No, odds are they're going to say, okay, we sent our best people out there. They did a deep dive, and there's nothing more to find. When in reality, there's probably a ton of stuff that hasn't been looked into. Or if it's been looked into, they don't want you to know about it. Just like we will never know what really happened, the truth, to Lindsey Graham. People may say, no, he had an aortic aneurysm, he's dead. I know there are people listening to this podcast right now saying, oh, cut it out, guys. It's an aortic aneurysm. Everybody gets them. That's right. It's common. People get it. But, there's also, if you wanted to take somebody out in government, in a high position in government who's close to the president, and by the way, if you wanted that president to know that if we can touch this guy,
getting close.
We're getting close to you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's exactly what I think. There's from the answers I got this morning, from everything that's out there, there's more to this than meets the eye. The call from Baltimore, explaining what happened, and then sitting there going, oh, the door's unlocked, there's too many questions now. And with BS answers, that is what conspiracies grow from, because you're telling us some lies.
Yeah. And by the way, if you have questions and you think, and people call you a conspiracy theorist, flip them the bird. You have a right to question. As a matter of fact, if you don't question, they call you something, I think it's called sheep. Sheep don't question. If you have a question about something, you ask it. And if you don't get the answer you like, pursue it. Try to find out from somebody who has the answer. Hey, like and share the show. Tell your friends about Jim and Bill It's Another Day. Jim and Bill It's Another Day. You can contact us at mail@jimandbill.com. Bill, Lindsey Graham was a big advocate of the Save America Act, which Trump is trying to push through. And Mike Lee was on TV with, I think it was Maria Bartiromo over the weekend, talking about Lindsey Graham and how it would be a tribute if you would have passed that damn bill, which should have been passed without any problem, but as a tribute to Lindsey Graham. Listen.
Lindsey Graham spent a lot of time with. Like me, he had a lot of enthusiasm for this bill, which I introduced in the Senate about 2.5 years ago. I believe, Maria, that there are multiple paths ahead by which we could pass this. Maybe that involves attaching it to another must-pass vehicle. Maybe it involves bringing it up on the floor and debating it until it passes, something that I've long advocated. Maybe it involves picking out pieces of it that could be implemented through creative uses of budget reconciliation. I'm not terribly partial to any of these three. I personally prefer the second. I think that would give us our best chance. But I will take any opportunity to debate this, any opportunity to cause it to become law, because the American people deserve it. The American people want it. Voters overwhelmingly support it to the tune of about 80%. That's Democrats and Republicans alike. One of the best ways we could honor Lindsey Graham's legacy would be to take this up and pass it this month.
You know, I've heard 80%, I've heard 85%, I've heard 90%. You know, Bill, it would be like if you said to the public, how many of you would like to get rid of income tax? There's always going to be some people say, no, we should keep it. But, I mean, you'd probably get about 90, 95% of the country, and that would be a no-brainer. They would probably pass that in the first. This thing has taken them 2.5 years, and they're still no closer than they were 2.5 years ago.
What does that tell you? The public, 80% say, yeah, the Save America Act is right. We should do it. But they can't get it together in the House to sit there and say, hey, yeah, let's do it. This is what the people want. Screw them. They don't know what they want. We know better because we have people that, you know, we have our hands in their pockets. You know, this is getting ridiculous.
Well, what happens if we don't pass the Save America Act? I'll tell you. What happens is that illegals will vote.
They already do.
And a certain party will benefit big time because illegals will vote most likely one way, Democrat, because they're the party of sympathy for illegals. They're not going to vote for the party that wants to remove them.
We have all kinds of temporary visas and work passes, especially since Biden was in, that allow people to come over and not only work but get benefits. Most of them were considered temporary, but you know the argument was, well, they're taking jobs, they're getting jobs that we don't want to do, but that's not necessarily the case all the time. It's, you know, I mean, there's a big void out there of qualified American-born, you know, people that can't find suitable work, but we've given it to, you know, people that are here as a guest. And they don't believe in our values. They don't want to know our Constitution. They don't want anything to do with us. As a matter of fact, you know, you go to any country and you've got to pledge allegiance and you've got to sit there and take up that flag. There are people here that won't pledge allegiance to our system and they will not take up the flag or want anything to do with it. Then why are they here? Well, they're here because we're giving them money to be here and to vote.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If we have the Save America Act, it means what it means. It doesn't mean, oh, let's give a certain favor to the Republican Party. No, all it means is, if you haven't paid attention, listen up. All it means is that you have to show an identification to prove that you are an American citizen, right? To vote. Voting is sacrosanct. It's like we have no country if we don't have honest voting. Democracies rely on honesty in voting. All right. Otherwise, it's not a democracy. It's a third world, a ham and egger country. But if you have an honest, solid voting system, you got something. And all we're saying on the right is, we want an honest and fair voting system. We're not saying we want an exception. We want 2 votes for every 1 vote for a Republican. No. All we're saying is that in order to vote, you have to show proof that you actually can vote, that you're an American citizen. That's it. And the Democrats are doing gymnastic contortions to stop us from doing this. They're doing whatever they can to make it so that it doesn't pass. So you have to ask yourself, why in God's name would an American political party of historic value work so hard to stop something like this from happening. It means that they know that they're not offering a hell of a lot right now politically, so the only way they're going to retain some semblance of power is to do it the old-fashioned way, so to speak. Cheat. And by the way, people may say, what are you talking about? Some of us, and it's only a personal opinion, some of us believe that previous elections like 2020 were manipulated. We also believe that 2016 was manipulated. They just screwed it up. They underfigured the amount of people who were going to vote. If their figures were right, Hillary would have won. That's why they were so confident going into election night. They were getting ready to break out the cake and shoot the fireworks. And all of a sudden,
the barges were out there. She was waiting for the party to begin so she could come trolling in. But you know what? Could you imagine if she had gotten into the White House? Because a lot of people didn't know the kind of bitch she really is. And only her hairdresser and, the lady that did her nails.
I think Bill knew. I think Bill may have had a clue.
He had an ashtray upside the head from her once.
That's true. What an arm. She may have been tough, but she had a terrific side arm.
You know how many baseball teams wanted her?
Oh, I know. Oh, man. I mean, she nailed them on one shot. Folks, what if you get anything out of today's show? First of all, it's okay to ask questions. Mm-hmm. It's not going to change the fact, by the way, that we've lost Lindsey Graham. Again, I didn't agree with everything the guy proposed or did, but apparently he was a halfway decent guy, and he tried. Maybe he tried the best that he knew how, and his people who loved him dearly are going through a very difficult time, and our prayers go out to Lindsey. I hope to God he's with God right now. I hope he's, with Jesus. I hope he is at peace. I hope that a lot of the rumors that are out there floating around about the guy were just that. Because if some of those rumors were true, and I'm not even going to get into those rumors.
It's a moot point now.
Yeah, it would be a different, you'd have different feelings about the guy. I think we're not being told the truth about McConnell. I don't think we're being told the truth about Butler. I don't think we're being told the truth about just about everything. I heard, Bill, and I was going to, before I heard about Lindsey Graham, I had read an article that a friend of mine sent me, and I where the heck is it? Do I have it here in my stack of stuff? Give me 1 second. Yes, I do. Apparently, there is speculation by certain experts, and there are experts out there who are good at this kind of thing, that we are on the verge of the most upsetting time in our country. A friend of mine from Wisconsin does a mailer. He's and he's a conservative, and he reposts certain articles from certain people, and Trump has an arsenal of legal tools that most Americans don't even know exist. The first is the Supremacy Clause. It's right there in Article 6 of the Constitution, Clause 2, and it says in plain English, "This Constitution and the laws of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding." Now you may say, what does that mean? That means if you are a sanctuary state or a sanctuary city,
it can be ripped out from you.
It means nothing. But here's the problem that we're facing right now. And I'm not going to go. It's a long article, and I'll talk about it hopefully tomorrow or the next day. They are apparently, these sanctuary cities are not going to follow the laws. If we tell them, give up your illegals to ICE, we want all the records for so ICE can start deporting these people, and they say no, we're a not a, what do they call it, a sanctuary city. Mm-hmm. if we're a sanctuary city, you haven't got a right. And they throw that supremacy clause at them. Like, yeah, we do have a right, and it's right here in the Constitution. So you better give us the stuff. And if they say, well, we're not acknowledging that, that's like what happened just before the American Civil War. That's when the Southern states said, we're not going to follow your laws because they don't fit our laws. But actually, they had agreed because they had signed the Constitution, all of them, that we would abide by the federal law. So they were violating the same clause, the supremacy clause in the Constitution, and that's what started the Civil War. And what this article, and I'm going to talk about later on in the week, essentially what they're saying is they're saying that we're on the verge of another civil war. And then, by the way, Bill, that deep state that you were talking about, they want it. They want it. Because they figure if there's turmoil going on, Trump won't get elected. But here's what they don't understand. If there's violence and turmoil going on, Trump can suspend elections.
Yeah, he can. So they want him out of office. They don't want that civil war because then he'll stay in office for a while.
Yeah. By the way, what was it that Abraham Lincoln, he suspended, don't go away. I'm going to ask my little AI machine. You can even hear me do it. What was it that Abraham Lincoln suspended during the Civil War? It was, I think it was called, yes, habeas corpus. I knew it was corpus something, right? I couldn't think of what.
Not Corpus Christi.
Yeah, no, he didn't suspend Corpus Christi. During the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln suspended the writ of habeas corpus. The legal action allowed military commanders to indefinitely detain individuals suspected of disloyalty or aiding the Confederacy without bringing them before a judge or formally charging them with a crime. And that was considered like, oh, you can't do that. Lincoln did it. So as great and as magnificent as Lincoln was, he also knew that, hey, we're going into war and a civil war, and we can't be constantly bringing these people in front of these corrupt judges like we have now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's exactly what's going on now, and we've got a cesspool of judges, corrupt judges that will sit there. Anything they can do to tip over the apple cart, they do it.
Yep. On a lighter note, as we get ready to wrap this one up, it's been a pretty heavy show, but hopefully you found a bit of it interesting. You hear about Mick Jagger?
Yeah, didn't he school Bruce Springsteen on
yes.
Trying to tell people what they should politically do? And Jagger said there's no place for that to lecture fans about politics. And I agree. Mickey hit a home run there.
Yeah, he sure did. He said the bottom line of my thing really is that my job is the live music world. They come to see me and have a good time and possibly win, or whatever that means. But he was telling Bruce Springsteen, knock it off. People don't go to your concerts to hear you give a political rant.
Well, I didn't say anything about it, but when we did the 4th of July celebrations, I know I was at a private fireworks show on the 4th, and somebody, in one of the nearby, camp houses there said, oh, we'll put on some patriotic music. And the first song that they play and blast it over and over is Born in the USA. Yes, I'm a commie so-and-so, and I dodged the draft, and I did all this because I hate this country. I'm Bruce Springsteen. That song is not a patriotic classic.
I know.
It is a protest song.
That's somebody who is ill-informed. Somebody who was near you, and there's a lot of people like that. They think that they're being clever. I'll play Born in the USA because they sing USA.
Yeah. Well, a very good liberal friend that was a manager at a station one time, and he is a libtard. But back in the day, I was sitting there going through a list. I said, yeah, we're going to do an American Patriotic Classic weekend. He goes, whatever you do not play Bruce Springsteen. I said, I wouldn't. He goes, well, I'm glad you know. Now, he was a former Ranger, so he knows what Bruce did. But now, because he's a libtard, he's sitting there going, yeah, Bruce is right. And I'm like going, where did your values go? Where did your patriotism go? Where did your heart go?
You hang around the wrong people. And by the way, there's a lot of people who look at Trump superficially. They don't dig into, what he's all about. They just look at him and think, oh, blonde hair, and he says some outrageous things. And boy, he's not as presidential as I would like.
Before.
Yeah. Fact of the matter is, folks, he's still doing an amazing amount of work the guy is 80 years old. And he works like 20 hours a day, and his life is on the line, and he doesn't need the check.
And there's the narrative.
Yeah.
He's 80 years old. Lindsey was 71, 72, 73. Nobody knows. And this is just it's a normal thing, And then you got Mitch. We don't know what the hell is going on there, because they want to find
Who's next?
Well, see, that's what I don't know. There is no string that they will not pull from the left or the deep state to get what they want.
And you have a complacent media that will accept anything. Okay, fine. The guy said it was a preliminary report. It was aortic tear. Well, that's it. Fine. Nothing to see here. Let's move on to another topic.
Well, see, I don't know that they are complacent. I think that they are a propaganda mechanism.
You're saying they're complicit.
Yeah. You're damn right. They're waiting for the next memo. What do you want me to say? I don't have to think. I just got to read and do.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, Elaine Chao was over in China. You see where over 10,000 Christians have been arrested in China as Xi Jinping's communist regime escalates a religious crackdown. See, religion, if you believe in God and you believe in something greater than the state, then you're not as fearful of the state. And they got a lot of problems in China, folks. You just don't hear about it. A lot of problems. Anyway, Bill, I'm all done. I haven't got any. I got more. I could go on for another half an hour, but maybe we should wrap this one up. It's been a pretty heavy show.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there was a lot to talk about, a lot more to talk about, but it's Monday, the top of the week, and as they say in the sewer plant, just wait to see what floats to the top tomorrow.
Is that what they say? Is that what they say at the sewer plant?
Yeah, that's
Really?
what they say.
No.
I've never been there, but I had a friend that worked. Actually, I did have a friend that worked at one of those things.
Really?
And, they have a radio.
I
They
heard
have
the
radio control gear out in the middle of those tanks.
Well, I heard the job stinks.
It does.
Yeah.
No, but here's something to picture. This guy, he goes out with another guy. They have to fix the radio gear out in this tank that stirs up, the muck.
The waste.
Yeah. And the one guy, and this is not a joke, the one guy stands up and he goes, "What the hell are you?" And then the boat tipped over and they both ended up swimming in it.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Boy, did they get overtime for that? Because they deserved it.
I don't know, but that's a real job that stinks.
Oh, I'll bet. I bet you. Now, we were talking about throwing clothes and gloves away after you touch poison ivy. Oh, I bet you throw the clothes away.
I would skin myself and get new skin on that one. The one thing that I bet you one of the guys said was, "Hasta la vista, baby. We're out of here."
Who are we and why are we here? Will we be welcome or possibly feared? Do we unite and stand tall as a nation of one, or split and divide to be mocked and shunned? Are our leaders patriotic, honest and true? Do they share our beliefs? Are they red, white, and blue? The truth is out there, you just have to search. Settle for less, you'll be left in the lurch. No left-leaning lies, no socialist will. It's straight talking truth from your friends Jim and Bill. Are our leaders patriotic, honest and true? Do they share our belief? Are they red, white, and blue?
All music the property of Jim and Bill. All rights reserved.
This is CRN America.